ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply. Today we're going to check out Brandon's shallow reef tank. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now today we're checking out Brandon's tank, and you may recognize it because it's my old tank. So I'm really happy that it's still around and we get to check it out and see how things are progressing. So how long have you had the tank up so far, Brandon?
I moved in August of last year, so I think just over a year.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's doing pretty good for a pretty mature tank, I think.
No, definitely. So few things just to kind of do the overall basics. So this is just shy of 6 feet.
Yes.
I believe it is 22 high.
I believe so.
Yeah, 22 high. I believe it's 24 wide. Light-wise, we have
the Blaze X.
Excellent.
By Lumen Magic.
By Lumen Magic. How are you liking it?
You know what? I was always running Ecotech before, and it came with the tank, and you told me to keep it over the Ecotech lights and try it out so we could actually do some time test with it. And so far, all the corals are just as colorful as the Ecotech stuff, and I mean, all the reviews I've looked at it, and it's great.
Excellent.
I have it at, I think, only like 10 or 11%.
Oh, you have it really low.
Really low, and none of the zoas are reaching or anything, and my algae growth is really minimal, so I keep it there.
Excellent. So overall, pretty happy with it?
Oh, very.
Another thing I noticed too, actually you moved the clear door to the front, which actually looks pretty cool. Little window inside.
Yeah, I mean, like most people that come over that have never seen a reef tank before, you know, don't really realize what actually goes into it. So it's kind of nice when the girlfriend's friends come over, or, you know, family comes over, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, there's more underneath. And it just kind of creates more of an appreciation for a tank and what actually goes into it.
Do you find most people are like down here poking around, looking through the window, checking what's up in there?
Oh, 100%. Usually I mean, every single time a new person comes over, it's about an hour and a half new conversation, so.
I love it. So coral-wise, you got a pretty good blend of basically everything in here.
Yeah, it's all from like beginner stuff to, I mean, some sticks. I just started with sticks not too long ago, so some SPS in there. And I do have some orange passion that's starting to take off a bit, and some pink lemonade. And then as far as other stuff goes, like the deep water telacro and some other stags, and just easy stuff just to kind of test drive the waters with, and stuff I hope that doesn't disappear, like the orange passion stuff.
Well, the tank's looking good. You got lots of movement, lots of color in here, which is awesome.
Yeah, just trying to keep it simple, trying to keep the hands out of the tank, and everything seems to be nice and happy for now.
Are you actually being successful at keeping the hands out?
I try to make one day a week that I put my hands in the tank, even if a coral falls over. Usually they're pretty good until then. Mm-hmm. And I've just found just like keeping your hands out of the tank and keeping oils, and, you know, it's just like simple things. You spray cologne on yourself and all that stuff, and you're dipping your hands in your tank and touching your face constantly, and it's amazing what you can keep out of your tank. And
exactly, just
doing it.
Preventing all those little contaminants. Okay, flow-wise, you got 2 MP40s and a gyre on the overflow wall.
Yeah.
Looks like we got one more MP40 down here.
Yes, and I think I have the MP40s on only like 20%, and I just have them on like reef crest mode. And the gyre I actually have off right now. Just getting the top of the water circulating a bit.
Yep.
I was having a little bit of scum buildup just at the back of the tank here with the gyre. So I just kept it off for a couple days just to help clear that little bit of a buildup off.
It's always the one tricky bit with Peninsula, unless you have power heads on the side pushing away. You got to play with the flow quite a bit. Okay, top-wise, you got kind of an interesting design here. So you got some panels, and you made your own top to kind of inset it, which is kind of a cool way to make them work.
Yeah, so it's just like a sheet of polycarbonate, and it's actually almost impossible to find with this whole COVID thing going around and people using it as like screens or that type of thing at tills. But it's this was from a hockey rink, and it had broke when a puck hit it. So I had like cut it down, and my uncle works at a hockey rink, so he got me a piece and I cut it down. And it's nice because it doesn't warp because it's so thick. Mm-hmm. And then I had these jump tops that I had bought, and they're ridiculously expensive. They have moonlight LEDs built into them and stuff.
Oh, crazy.
But I just didn't want to get rid of them. I had them on my Reefer 250, or my Reefer 350, sorry. And I love the look of them and didn't want to get rid of them, so I just kind of made it work.
Nice. Well, that's a super creative way to reuse them. Very cool. So what do you got going on underneath for filtration? So
we can take off the panels here. As far as filtration goes, I just have the, I guess it's an IOS, right? Pork reactor, which is super simple. I have a 1/4 cup of carbon in there, and then half of that of GFO. And Devin and I, before this, were having a good laugh. He's like, so how do you know when to change out your GFO and your carbon? Do you like check your levels? And I said, no. Basically, as soon as these sponges push out the top a bit, I push it back down one more time, and then when it pushes out the top again, then I switch out my media.
So two sponge clogs, and it's time to swap it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Clean everything out and rechange the media.
Nice.
And it seems to be working for me. Not saying it's going to work for everybody, but it does for me.
Excellent.
And then what else do I got under there, man?
I just noticed you have 2 heater controllers.
Yeah, so one is a Wi-Fi Inkbird, and the other one is just a generic one. They're only set 0.2 degrees off from one another. As far as like, you know, automation goes and that stuff, this tank is pretty basic. But the Inkbirds, they send you a notification to your phone. Actually, on this tank, the Inkbird saved me once. It was starting to overheat my tank. Sent me a message at work. Talked to the wife. She just put in a new heater, and it was good.
Nice. So. Perfect. So on the side here, also you'll got the Alcatronic and the Dosetronic. So that's doing your dosing for you?
Yes. So they kind of work like hand in hand. I mean, as far as things go, what is it at right now? 10.53. It really only varies by, I guess, 0.1 to 0.2 of DKH so far in this tank. I mean, if I could suggest anything that makes kind of reefing possible, if you don't want to put a lot of work into it, it's definitely the Alcatronic. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, automated testing is just such a nice advancement lately.
Oh yeah. The only thing I wish I had the Mastertronic just so I wouldn't have to worry about anything at all.
Well, that's not out yet, but
no, soon. But I'll have some space and get some.
You can squeeze on top of the ATO. There's a wheel. There's a wheel.
Exactly. Yeah, there'll be room.
Yeah, excellent. That got the NIOS 160, and you got the Clarity filter roller. How do you like having a filter roller versus socks?
It's a game changer. I mean, when you go on holidays, you'd have to have somebody look after your tank and then change out the filter floss, and you know, so you didn't come back and your nitrates were through the roof and your phosphates. But I mean, other than that, I only feed flake food and pellets probably once a week for the pellets, and then every day for just flake food, and I use the PE brand.
Yeah. Piscean Energetics.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as like, you know, anything going through my tank, I don't really have that much, so it lasts quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I might feed frozen once every 2 months just to keep the fish on it, but other than that, they seem to really like the PE stuff. And yeah, I mean, I've just noticed not an increase in nitrates and phosphates with doing that. And when I feed the PE, like the mysis stuff, if you don't rinse it every single time and pour it into the tank, you have to just do more maintenance with change out carbon, and you get the fish smell in the room. And for any of us reefers that have wives or husbands that don't like the fish smell because you can't appreciate the tank, then you kind of got to change it a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. Can't have the fishy smell. That's the first thing. The second the wife says something that smells fish, I'm like, oh, time to change the carbon.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice. I literally only probably have to change the carbon and the GFO once every month. So.
Oh, awesome. So overall, pretty low maintenance now?
Low maintenance. I mean, I have a sand sifter in there, and he's slacking right now, but he tills the sand for me. And then I just got this, I guess this isn't a coal tang, but it's a lavender tang, I guess it is. And he is such a workhorse, and he keeps the back walls clean, and along with the lawnmower blenny. All the other fish are freeloaders, but
yeah, that's fair. Some of them do a little bit of work, you know.
Yeah, a little bit of work every now and then, but they're all pretty good. But definitely that the lavender tang is just a workhorse. He's constantly picking.
Excellent. Any other additions or changes or anything planned for the tank in the near future?
Just some more SPS. I mean, like before I never really had any SPS and I was trying to dabble in it, but I could never keep any of it until I had this tank. And I think the whole reason I can keep it now is the Alcatronic. It dials it in for you. And I think the key to any happy tank is just to keep your nitrates and phosphates in check, and your alkalinity is the most important. And if you have that dialed in, then pretty much anything's possible. So highly suggest anyone that can't keep SPS, get the Electronic. But
no, it's awesome. Wicked. Well, thanks so much for the tour.
yeah, man.